I called Roy Blakey, and the first thing he said to me was, "How did you know about me?" I said, "You're famous."
Roy Blakey is a legend.
He was just so wonderful, so magical.
Roy Blakey was my best friend. When I was just a little girl, I had a photo that my uncle gave me of himself dressed up as a clown. His first career was as a figure skater, and his second career was as a photographer. I want for him to have a place for his life's work in our lifetime.
Hi, I'm Alise Chaffins, and today I'm joined by Keri Pickett and Dawn Mikkelson, the director and then the producer of the upcoming documentary Uncle Roy, which is currently seeking funding through its Kickstarter. Thank you both so much for speaking with me today. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So, Keri, this film is about your uncle, Roy Blakey. Can you tell us a little bit about him, and about what made you want to make this documentary?
Well, Roy was born in 1930 in the Depression era, Oklahoma. And when he was 10 years old, he saw a movie starring Sonia Henney, and he said, "That is it. I am going to do that. That is my career path," except there was no ice in Enid, Oklahoma. And so he became a champion roller skater as he pursued his life of and dreams of performing on the ice, a la Sonia Henney and the Hollywood Ice Review. So Roy was somebody who was really interested in the artistry of figure skating and not necessarily the sport of figure skating. And that love and that passion helped propel him around the world 2 times as a professional figure skater. And then that life of being on the road and being surrounded by entertainers and beautiful people helped him develop his second career of entertainment photography. And so he became in New York City after he hung up his skates, a photographer to the stars, and he made a groundbreaking book in 1972 of all male nudes, classic, beautiful all male nudes, which he self-published with the title He. Mm. And it had historic significance, which you can find out about in the film.
Excellent. Yeah. Dawn, can you talk a little bit about joining Keri as the producer on this project and about why the two of you wanted to work together? And Keri, of course, you can, chime in on that as well.
So a few years ago, Keri and I co-directed a film called Finding Her Beat that was about female taiko drummers. And the film was an incredible experience for both of us. It was the first time working together, and we'd both been doing our separate work for years. And we discovered that we had very complementary skills. So I've been helping Keri on a number of her films moving forward since that time. The girl is prolific. She's got a lot of films in her back pocket, and they're all amazing. They all have these subjects. It's like, and actually that was part of the fun of touring with Finding Her Beat, was being able to hang out with Keri, and she'd tell these stories, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, someday there will be a film about Keri, I think, too. But in the meantime,
this one.
Well, that's true. This film does touch on Keri's life quite a bit, but she's got more there. But no, so I got to know and respect Keri a lot during that time, but also I got to know Roy, because Roy and Keri shared a studio together in Minneapolis. And so soon after meeting Keri, I met Roy, and he is was such a kind and humble and talented person with this backstory that, again, you're like, I cannot believe this person did all these amazing things, and no, I've never heard of them. Right. And so when, she started making this film and she asked me to join her, I was thrilled to do so. And, honored that, given the personal subject matter that, that I get to be involved. I mean, this is a very personal film. It's not just about the beauty and the photography and the skating, but it's also about a relationship and a friendship between a niece and her uncle. And in, the final year of his life and caretaking, and what does it mean to carry somebody's legacy forward and be the next generation that cares for your elders and also cares for their legacy. So it's been
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I noticed in the trailer that you have is that this kind of weaves around Roy's queerness in the storytelling. And yeah, can you just talk some about how your own stories intersect with that as, as queer filmmakers and yeah, and just kind of artists in your own right?
Well, I am somebody who is straight, and I spent 8 years, 7 years doing a book about radical fairies that was published by Aperture in the year 2000. And I think that that experience really turned me into a radical fairy. And so I would say I'm more curvy than straight. Let's go with that. But I'm definitely an ally. And so, and I see things through a lens that is informed by the radical fairy movement and by um, my queer brothers and sisters.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I identify as queer. And, the first couple of films I made were about queer community. One was about being queer in rural Minnesota back in the late 90s. And another one was about a lesbian minister in the Lutheran church before the Lutherans allowed such things. They do now. It's nice. But I think that, what ties me to this story, besides this kind of feeling of like this is community and our elders are so important, and our elders, queer elders in particular, their legacies need to be maintained and kept alive. And I think particularly in the time that we're in right now, where things are disappearing, in terms of archives and in terms of libraries and websites. And it's so important that we keep these stories alive for the next generation. I mean, for kids to be able to watch Uncle Roy and see themselves in young Uncle Roy, see that this man lived in a time that maybe it was quite dangerous to be queer, and he lived that life unapologetically and found community that took care of him, and he took care of them. And so it's, I don't know, the more we get into this film and the more we get into the time that we're in, the more I'm like, this has to happen. These stories have to be told and shared. Not only because it's a great story of a guy who lived an amazing life, but also, for the kiddos who are coming up, wondering, what's happening.
Yeah,
I think it's a
absolutely.
very positive story that's going to make people get into their hearts and get into their shared humanity.
Mm.
And that's, I think, the beauty of film and filmmaking, is that that's our opportunity to say whatever you feel about somebody's sexuality. Here's a person who you can admire and who you can see has made an impact and a positive impact in this world. And so your heart is going to get opened, and then maybe, your mind will also be cracked open and
Yeah.
have the light come in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, kind of shifting gears just a little bit to talk some about the Kickstarter. Um, you all just have some really fun rewards for like backers. Can you talk about some of those and yeah, just the Kickstarter in general?
Well, my uncle published a book in 72 called He, and then he did a book in 2002 called Roy Blakey's 1970s Male Nudes. And before he passed, I told him that I needed to raise the money for the film, and I asked him if I could use some of his original printed gelatin silver prints, 11 by 14 prints. And he said yes. And so I have these beautiful prints, and Roy was a master printer, and I'm offering them at a really discounted price from what you would get them in a gallery. And I think it's a really cool way that you get to hold something that Roy made.
Yeah, yeah, I saw those. I just thought that was so neat that you can kind of have something, yeah, like that ties to the film in such a direct and really unique way. So, absolutely. And can you just talk a little bit about like what the funds from the Kickstarter will be going to help with in the creation of the film?
Sure. I mean, the Kickstarter, we're raising 40,000 in 40 days. And it is for the first couple things that we need to do is composing the music. We've been working with Mealy Hay, who was the composer for Finding Heartbeat, and developed a wonderful relationship with her. And so she is ready to start to get that original music into this film. And then, graphic animations. Basically, we're at a rough cut. And now we need to bring in the people to, make it beautiful, the color correction, the sound mix, that, all of these things that take it from a great story told in the right order, which is what we have now, to a story that just sings, that is seamless, that you can get lost in. And so that's where we're at right now. I mean, we have stretch goals too, because the 40,000 is enough to get us where we need to go to hopefully start submitting to festivals in the fall. Um, if we raised more, which would be amazing, then we've got that budget set up for marketing and distribution, because this is a strange time to make documentary films. And we're prepared to get this film out regardless of what the market for documentary looks like when we release, because that's a big question mark for a lot of independent filmmakers. So we're wanting to get this film out on the right foot.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. Well, I thank you both so much for taking the time to sit and talk with me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing this film when it comes out. And yeah, just best of luck to you in the Kickstarter and with the film.
Thanks, Alise. Really appreciate this time together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.